sitting here reflecting and thinking about the current state of the average mindset, right? Particularly the way that people think these days. There's a lot of lacking in critical thinking nowadays, a lot of lack of nuance. And I think that's because we've become so comfortable with a predefined, traditional way of thinking that works. Not saying that traditional thinking doesn't work, but I think if we want to be successful, particularly in the technology space, we have to be comfortable and get into a habit with lateral thinking. Now, what is lateral thinking? I was introduced to lateral thinking by Edward de Bono, and I read his book Lateral Thinking some, I don't know, 8, 9 years ago. And it's really struck me, it's really stuck with me for a long time, and it challenged me to think in a different way. So the way that he describes lateral thinking is, say you're drilling a hole, right? And you just keep on drilling deeper and deeper and deeper into that hole. That's vertical thinking. Lateral thinking is drilling multiple holes in different spots, right? And that stuck with me for some reason. I think I might have butchered the analogy that he made, but that really stuck with me because a lot of the times when we're solving problems, we tend to get into this very linear way of thinking, this stepwise form of thinking that's predicated on a long line of unbroken logic. Now, lateral thinking, on the other hand, allows us to think outside the box and to come up with unorthodox solutions that we wouldn't have come up with had we stuck to a traditional vertical thinking model. Wendell Odom, the guy that wrote the CCNA textbook that I'm studying from right now, he came up with an interesting analogy for CCNA. I forgot what exactly he was referring to, but he said something along the lines of problem solving in network engineering, or at the level of CCNA, is having all of the pieces to a puzzle or all of the pieces to a problem except for one piece. And the CCNA or the Cisco network engineer has to fashion that last piece so that it fits or solves the problem, right? And I hope I didn't butcher his analogy as well, but that is something that stuck with me as well. We can look around and see so many different problems, and we can solve these problems, but they require lateral thinking. They require a different form of thinking. Like, there's so many different problems that every one of us could look at right now in the environmental space, the health and fitness space, and the technology space. There's so many different spaces that we can look at and see so many problems that need to be solved with an unorthodox way of thinking. Not meaning that we need to throw out vertical thinking altogether or traditional forms of problem solving altogether, but I think we can merge the two kinds of thinking, vertical thinking and lateral thinking, to come up with new innovative ways to solve problems. So I don't know, I was just thinking about that, and I think that it's very important for us to think outside the box, find solutions outside of the traditional framework of vertical, straight, linear logic, and take those solutions and drill down into it with vertical thinking, right? So I don't know, I just wanted to leave you guys with that little thought. I would encourage you to find ways to buck against your typical ways of thinking and find solutions to old problems that's been around for a very long time, and do it with an unorthodox way of thinking. Now, you might say, okay, that's good and well, you introduce lateral thinking, but how do you laterally think? Well, I think one thing that we can do in order to bolster our ability to lateral think is to nurture our creativity, because a lot of lateral thinking is creative, right? If you want to build up on your creativity, focus on creative pursuits. A lot of people say, oh, I'm not creative, or I'm not a creative person. I think we all have a certain level of creativity in us, and we're born with this level of creativity. Because if you look at children, they like to color, draw, different things like that. And what happens is when we end up in some school, depending on the type of school you go to, it's pretty much hammered out of us. Our creativity is hammered out of us by the time we leave elementary school and we go into middle school, and you know. But get in touch with your creative side. That's the number one way I can suggest figuring out how to laterally think. Another way to bolster your lateral thinking ability and capabilities is to learn multiple disciplines. I'll use myself as an example. I have knowledge of a wide array of disciplines, and there's this book, I forgot the name of this book. I think it's called Range by David Epstein, I believe his name is. I believe that's the name of the book, right? And I still need to read that. Someone had introduced me to that book, and that book pretty much discuss that we have to have a wide range of abilities in order to be competitive in this 21st century market that we're in, right? And beyond. And I say that to say that, you know, they say that you can be a jack of all trades and a master of none. But I forgot there's an other half to it. I'm probably gonna post the other half right here so that we can get the full breadth of what I'm trying to talk about. But they say that it's bad to be a jack of all trades, right? But it seems to me that in this day and age, that's being turned on its head, specifically within the technology space, because in the technology space, a lot of these certifications are becoming geared towards versatility, right? Becoming a versatile network engineer or a versatile software engineer and things of that nature. So I don't know, this is just my little introduction and putting you on to lateral thinking, and maybe it will change the way that you study, maybe it'll change the way that you think about life. But in either case, if you're looking for more insights like this, click right here, and I'll talk to you guys next time.